Welcome to Generation Z. I'm your host, Joe Whittle, and today we're talking about identity. It's literally what makes up who we are, whether you identify strongly with your gender, nationality, sexuality, religion, or even just the town you grew up in. We took to the streets to ask members of Generation Z about their identities. Let's see what they had to say.
Hi, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Morgan.
All right, nice to meet you, Morgan. And what would you say is the most important part of your identity?
The most important part of my identity is definitely my Judaism. It's just always been like a very important part of me. I've always been involved. I've gone to summer camp. I've worked for the Jewish community back home. And yeah, it's just very, very important to me.
Every single aspect of you and your life experiences are what make you you. This is especially true for Generation Z, the generation of children born from the mid-90s to the early 2010s.
I'm Lauren.
Nice to meet you, Lauren. And what would you say is the most important part of your identity?
I enjoy some good old horror movies.
Real. Favorite horror movie?
Evil Dead 2.
It's a good one.
It's my favorite. Ash Williams, for real. He's just like me. That's my identity.
As children, we were told by our parents, teachers, and grandparents that we were unique, special, and that we could grow up to be anything we wanted to be. And Generation Z overwhelmingly took that to heart. We are individualistic, self-defined, and while we share similar experiences growing up, Gen Z has no one unifying identity.
Hi, my name is Aiden Smith.
I just want to ask you one question. What is the most important part of your identity?
I do feel like the most important aspect of my identity is the fact that I am Black. Recognizing how far that my ancestors, my people, my community has come in every aspect of life is something that I hold very dear to me.
Now, we know Gen Z has multiple ways of defining themselves, and a lot of these labels and identities were made commonplace by Generation Z. So sit tight and we'll be right back with a special guest to talk more on the identity of Generation Z.
This is a very rare opportunity I think we all have. No other college broadcasts a Big Four sports team. That includes like teams that play on a college campus. No one has this experience that we do. I'm one of less than like 40 people who had this experience to do this as a college student. I'm Brendan Gambeski. I'm one of the Islanders' lead producers here at WRHU. I came to RHU for a variety of reasons. In high school, I did a TV club with a member of RHU, Rachel Lucier, and Rachel had come back actually a few times to our high school and been like, "Oh man, RHU is this great thing. You should really join it." We got on some tours, and I was like, actually, I really like this place. You know, they have the Islanders. Now, other school has a Big Four sports team, so I applied, I got in, and then the first thing I did, I applied to RHU. Like, I don't think I really fully realized I'd have this opportunity until it almost happened. And I was like, almost like a pinch me type of moment where I'm like, I'm really doing this, I can really do this. This is such a fun experience, and even if something happens, I wouldn't trade this experience for almost anything else. There was a feeling inside the locker room that this was the beginning of something. For the New York Islanders Radio Network, I'm Brendan Gambeski.
Welcome back to Generation Z. As a whole, we focus a lot on self-expression, especially with the recent progressive outlook on mental health. And overall, there's a lot more unity and acceptance of different sexualities and gender expressions. Here to speak on the subject is Aiden Judge, Vice President of the Hofstra Pride Network. Hello, Aiden.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm pretty okay. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Let me jump into our first question for you.
Yeah.
So, Aiden, can you share some more information about the Pride Network and your experience in it?
Yeah, so the Pride Network is the largest LGBTQ plus organization on Hofstra's campus. So we do lots of different types of programming. We're an advocacy group, but we're also an educational group. So we do educational events like trivia sometimes to help our members learn about LGBTQ plus history in a really fun way. And we have panels come in. We have people from all over campus come, from the Career Center, other places important at Hofstra like Res Life, to come talk to our students to let them know that being a queer identifying student or ally is accepted at Hofstra and it should be celebrated.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
How do you think Gen Z focuses on LGBTQIA plus inclusivity more than other generations?
Well, you know, when you think of it, Gen Z is kind of that progressive generation, right? Like, we're accepting of everything. We have fun with everything like that. You can be whoever you want to be when you're in Gen Z. Ooh, it's like
my God,
unintentional
it
rhyme right
rhymes,
there.
so
I just made a
it's
slogan.
true, it's true.
But I think that we accept everybody, and that's something that we should really be proud of, because other generations can't really say that. So,
Like appreciating the differences versus fearing them.
absolutely, yes.
Why do you think the Pride Network is important here on campus, and I guess as a greater force?
Well, any queer identifying student or ally should have the opportunity to have a space like that on a campus, in a college setting, especially when people are discovering themselves. I know for me personally, when I joined the Pride Network, it helped me discover my sexuality a lot more than I would have gotten at home, you know, in my small town in Southeast Massachusetts. So I think getting the Pride Network up and running was one of my biggest accomplishments that we have here, because we weren't very active in the past. So I think it's a really good way to explore identity, and anyone should be extended that courtesy on a campus.
Yeah. And anyone should be extended that courtesy. Who do we invite to the Pride Network? Who is welcome? Who speak to the people here?
Yeah, anybody is welcome to Pride Network meetings. That's one of our things that we pride ourselves on. Every time we post about a meeting, every time we announce one, we make it known that it is okay for anybody to show up to any of our meetings, as long as you're supportive of the community, because obviously we don't want to create a negative space. But allies can attend our meetings. You know, sometimes allies can feel a bit awkward about attending meetings that are all queer spaces. But I think that if you're an ally, you should celebrate that, and you're welcome in our spaces. And you know, we don't have anything against you, like some people might assume sometimes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And give us a favorite memory, a favorite event from the Pride Network.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it has to be the spring 2023 drag show. That was the first time we'd had a drag show at Hofstra since fall of 2019, so it was a long time coming for that one. I got to work really closely with the team working on planning that event. I got to help book Silky Nutmeg Ganache from RuPaul's Drag Race, came to that event and gave a performance. We had our lovely student performers as well. It was just a great night.
Great, and there's more to come for the Pride Network. There's a lot more events coming.
Yes, I can say right here that May 1st, 2024 will be the 2024 drag show here at Hofstra. So mark your calendars, we're going to be in Adams Playhouse.
Look out for it, guys. Look out. And thank you so much for joining us, Aiden. We will see you on the panel.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you.
Model UN is not just a serious club, it's honestly just a very fun club. It's a place where you can just hang out, meet people, and just relax. You'll make some great friends there and learn great lessons as well.
My name is Mariama Kaba. I'm a mechanical engineering major and I am the PR chair of the club. It was originally started in the 1990s and was quickly disbanded due to some leadership conflict, and then it was restarted around the early 2010s with HUMUNC.
As a member, I participate in mock conferences. I contribute to the atmosphere during our club meetings. I'm going to be going on both the conferences that we're doing this year, which are NYU Mon and Show Mon, and I get to debate in those things. It's kind of like political improv almost. So I think my favorite moment was probably the first mock conference, which this is my first time doing Model UN ever, and it was just a really welcoming atmosphere. And it showed me like, wow, even though I'm not too well acquainted with international politics or just politics in general, this is something that I can do, and learning to do this is something that I can get from this club.
Whether it be a Secretary of Labor, or the President of the United States, or even just a mom, I go in and try to get what I want to be done as efficiently as possible.
They can get involved on Get Involved HU. On there, it should say Hofstra Model UN. We also have a Discord, Hofstra Model UN, that they can join to get the emails and notifications to talk to other delegates.
Welcome back to Generation Z. We're joined now by some members of Generation X, the generation born from the mid-60s to the early 80s. And most importantly, most Gen Zers have Generation X parents. So, representatives from the Generation X section, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Well, I sure would. I'm Michelle Roberts, Assistant Dean here at the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication. I am a Gen X and proud of it. Anything else I need to tell you?
That's it for now. Now to you.
My name is Evangeline Nell. I'm an executive producer at a streaming service called Going Local TV. I'm a proud Gen Xer, and thank you for actually talking about Gen X, because that's one thing that isn't really talked about. So we already got that going for us. So I think that's a good thing.
Thank you for being here.
I have a 19-year-old college student, and we'll get to the get off my lawn questions probably very soon.
Eventually. Thank you guys so much for being here. And my Gen Zers, would you like to introduce yourselves for us?
Yes. Hi, my name is Kobe. I've been in Generation Z since I was born, and from California, and just doing my best here.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm from Massachusetts, also been Gen Z since I was born. I think being Gen Z is a big part of my personality. I'm very social media oriented, into all the stuff that younger people are into. So yeah, happy to represent.
And I'm an old soul, so I fall in the middle. Now I've brought you all here for our segment, The Divide, where we get two generations' opinions on the same subject. And today's subject, family. So first question, do you think your family played a large role in the formation of your identity? This one's going to be for the Gen Xers.
You want to start?
Sure. Well, I think authenticity is very important for me in my identity for a lot of reasons. And I think my family always kind of nurtured that, where they were just kind of, didn't sugarcoat anything. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. But at least, there's no phoniness with that. I think, it's very raw and real. And I think that little fundamental element has really carried me throughout my life and my life as a parent, that I'm able to pass on to my Gen Z son.
That's very nice.
Yes.
Michelle Roberts, please.
Well, my identity has definitely been formed by my parents and my family, but it looks a lot different in my house now. I have a daughter who's 16, so she'll be looking at college soon. And so for me, it was like everyone was at work. My parents were both at work, so we came home and we kind of had run of the place, as we all talk about the latchkey generation, as well as that work ethic. It's like, you know what, you're ready to work, you're 14, it's time to get to work. So I've carried that through. But that being said, my parents were very wise with their money, whereas I'll go food shopping and then come home and then go out to dinner. So there's some differences there. But the work ethic and the strong sort of moral compass in that way, and kind of making sure you're being productive, definitely stuck with me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Now this one's for the Gen Zers. What difference do you notice between you and your parents in terms of values?
Yeah, growing up, I grew up with conservative-leaning parents they've become more progressive ever since I've started to talk about that type of stuff with them, which is not something you commonly see in Massachusetts either. It's one of the more blue states out there. So I think definitely Gen Zers have a lot of sway on their parents, and they're a very vocal generation. So I definitely think that me being a very vocal person who is also Gen Z definitely got into their heads quite a bit as I was growing up.
Yeah, and I think kind of bouncing on that is where I kind of differ from my parents' values, is that mine fall further left on the line. I think that's kind of always what you want as generations to progress. You want something to be pushing forward, just to have that dialogue. So I think
growing, learning, communicating.
Exactly.
Yeah, always important, always important. Well, I want to thank you, Gen Xers and Gen Zers, for your answers. They were all wonderful. Generation Z will return with a fun little game in a few moments. Hang tight with us, please.
While Hofstra University has existed for nearly 90 years, many are still unfamiliar with the history surrounding its founding. The university was named after Dutch-American millionaire and lumber industry entrepreneur William S. Hofstra. William Hofstra died in 1932 and left the bulk of his estate to his wife, Kate Mason Hofstra. She died the following year, and in her will she requested that the parts of their estate not given to family and friends was to be used to create a memorial to her husband. The trustees of the estate, Howard Brower and James Barnard, were left with the task of finding a fitting tribute to the Hofstras. In the fall of 1934, Howard Brower and Truesdell Peck Calkins, the superintendent of public schools in the village of Hempstead, discussed the future of the Hofstra estate. Brower shared Calkins' enthusiasm for the idea of an institution of higher education, which led to the creation of Hofstra University in 1935. Although the Hofstras might not have envisioned a university that bears their name, their opulent home, the Netherlands, is now the centerpiece of a campus that houses approximately 4,000 resident students with a full-time enrollment of over 8,000 students on 240 acres. Their likeness hangs in the administration building, and their family name lives on.
Welcome back to Generation Z. We are closing out today's show with a little game called Remember This? The rules are simple. I'll be showing you all different Gen Z childhood staples, and if you can name them, then you get a point. Chances are that you both probably bought a lot of these for your Gen Z kids.
Chances are strong, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are we all ready to play?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, for 1 point, do you remember this thing? It's a yummy little snacky.
Oh, yes, yes.
Do we want me to just
Go for it, Kobe. This is all you.
Cosmic brownies? Right?
Yes! Cosmic brownies. Tell us a story.
I was never allowed to eat these.
Oh.
I would go to school, and one of my friends always had like the supply of them.
Yeah.
And we would trade lunches and stuff so that I could get one, because my family would never let me get any of the cosmic brownies. But
sad. That's so sad. Well, great job. You get a little sprinkle of pride for that one. Now we're on to the next one. Who remembers this fad that was banned from classrooms? Ooh.
Yeah, I do remember this one.
What do you have for
Aren't
us?
those the bracelets? They still had those up until recently.
Yeah, they're still
Silly
around.
something?
Yeah,
Silly bands?
Yeah.
Silly bands.
Bands with a Z,
Oh, yeah.
right?
With a Z.
Yeah.
I used to have to go to all the different stationery stores to find them.
Yes, and you got to get the right one.
Right.
There's the animals, there's the Toy
Right.
Story, there's the... Right? I mean, they were banned on my bus because people kept flicking each other down.
Yeah, I actually had a box with my name on it that I kept all of them in, and I would walk on the playground with like an arm full of silly
Oh,
bands, and I
yeah.
would have literal marks on my arm.
They were
My
rare
parents
ones.
they would be triggered seeing those silly bands on the screen right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think our things were just bands. Just rubber bands. They're just rubber bands. I don't
Just
think
as
they
good.
were...
You remember the black rubber bands like Madonna wore?
Exactly. All the way
We wear
up.
them.
Exactly.
Madonna.
Yeah, so they had no level of sophistication. They weren't silly.
Classic.
They were just bands.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this one item, this last item here, this next item could be a toy, could be a snack, depending on what kind of child you were. Do you remember this little thing here? A snack. Could be a snack. A snack? What? Anybody got anything?
I don't want to say because I saw the answer.
Oh. What is it?
I don't know what that is.
You gotta tell us
I don't know what
now.
that is. Is it not a Barbie doll? It's like too small to
I
be
think I'm going to pull out my head here and say Polly Pocket.
Polly Pocket. Gotta be, right? Gotta be Polly Pocket. All right. Great job, guys. Congratulations. You know, I think we all learned a little bit more about Gen Z facts and culture. We're going to be right back with some more Generation Z. So please sit tight. Get a sip of water. So, what makes Generation Z Generation Z? Is it our shared experiences growing up, or is it how we eventually grew up and defined ourselves? I think based on what we've seen today, every individual has a different idea of what it means to be Generation Z. This is Joe Whittle, and this has been Generation Z. Join us next time for a look into Gen Z lifestyle.
Tree rooter shooter, you real Congo dread. You know, go see me in a Babylon, a beg bread. Blazing the fire upon a roam instead. Never want hear when the Rasta man say, you know, a judgment day and it's too late to pray. Heard the good news and chose to delay. Zion gatekeeper, no work with bribe. If you have a clean heart, pure inside. Highly Selassie and the prototype. When I show you the truth, you're gonna see the light. Now teach me, no come for fight.